6 insiders, 6 hot topics, 1 question. What's next for transportation? We're here at TRB 2026 and we've brought a team of people with us to get the inside scoop for you. We're sending 6 transportation professionals to TRB with 1 goal, taking you inside the sessions shaping the next year of transportation research. Let's follow them and see what they find.
So I think some of the big themes here at TRB related to pedestrian and bicycle safety are the themes that we've been struggling with or dealing with for years, which is the increase in pedestrian and bicycle fatalities. The last couple of years, we've seen a decline in pedestrian fatalities in the States, which is great, but we're still seeing an increase in bike and also e-bike and micromobility related crashes. So figuring out how to get a handle on that, understanding where the problems are and how they can be solved systematically is really important. I think one of the big themes for 2026 with pedestrian and bicycle safety is going to be cutting through all the hype of AI and understanding how we can use artificial intelligence and other kind of traditional methods to get the data we need to have the insights we need to make data-driven decisions about solving pedestrian safety and bicycle safety issues. My hope is that we'll continue to see work around improving safety for people walking, biking, and safety is what underpins all of our work as transportation professionals, including our work helping people navigate through dense, urban, and often congested environments.
Some of the themes I've been hearing when it comes to congestion relief are that folks are no longer willing to widen roadways. A lot of the local jurisdictions and constituents are really looking for ways to get capacity out of the system and looking for maybe some ways to improve safety and maybe make congestion relief a little bit less of a focus. I think one of my biggest takeaways from TRB this year is looking at some additional performance measures that are really folks' priority in the research world. I think there's a lot of research that's already been done on highway capacity, on traditional congestion relief, and I'm seeing a lot more interest in some other topics like resiliency. I think that's really helped inform me about where the state of the practice is going and where folks really see the biggest need for additional research. Congestion relief is still going to be a big topic in 2026. It's still a big need, and a lot of the urban areas, I think it's going to be a lot bigger of a need in rural areas as folks are looking for affordable housing or looking for maybe a different walk of life in some of those developing areas. It's not just about faster trips, it's who's able to make those trips.
There's these themes about social inclusion and continuity in design that I think is super relevant. It was kind of brought at the forefront of this session that I attended yesterday where they had a discussion about these surveys and they basically got at the root of the human behavior that is driving some of these mode choices. And it's super fascinating to go beyond just the typical standard design that is prescribed in some of these accessibility related transportation decisions and to go further into what is like driving these human behaviors and then learn from that and go forward with what would be the best way to kind of improve transportation and accessibility for everyone. My biggest takeaway would be that accessibility is not just a check the box requirement, it's becoming more a core performance measure. We're seeing evidence that functional features matter and it's important to move from not just having an accessible station, but also like an accessible experience overall. In 2026, I think we're going to move beyond typical infrastructure. We're going to move more into service design and information design and more research that sheds light into some of these psychological factors that are driving some of these human behaviors into why we make the travel choices that we do. Closing the gap in the transportation system sometimes means thinking smaller.
The biggest things I've heard about micromobility here at TRB this year have been about the distinctions in the different types of e-bikes that we're seeing on the roads today, differences in level 1 and level 2 e-bikes, and e-bikes that are outside of that specification that we're seeing people buying now that go very fast. Some of them are going over 30 miles an hour now at this point, and we don't have any specific regulations on how to handle those. And thinking about them compared to motorcycles, for example, what's the difference between an e-moto or an e-motorcycle or an e-bike, and are contributing to some safety issues on a lot of our roadways. My biggest takeaway on the state of micromobility is that we need to do more research and set more policies regarding micromobility as we continue to see e-bikes evolve and get bigger and faster. We need to set more guidelines regarding how we're going to put them on the roadways and how they're going to interact with other road users, especially other vulnerable road users. But designing for micromobility means designing for safer vehicle speeds.
I think the biggest takeaway around speed management is the recognition that you have different facets of speed that are being considered by agencies. You have your target speed, design speed, posted speed, operating speed, and that these all look different for different kinds of facilities and different kinds of infrastructure that these facilities contain. Another major additional element that we have seen this year that wasn't maybe very visible in the previous editions was about the post-crash care element of the Safe Systems approach. In terms of saving lives and in terms of creating an actionable impact in our communities. They were able to save an 8-year-old boy's life because of the ability for some of these agencies and EMSs to conduct blood transfusion. Blood transfusion has been talked about as one of the game changers in terms of reversing some of these negative externalities with crashes. The biggest takeaway for safety and speed management in 2026 is that Safe System approach is here to stay. There is widespread recognition that we need to move beyond our conventional norms of looking at safety and account for the fact that human beings are culpable of making mistakes, and we need to account to create systems that are going to protect us from having many of these externalities. When safety and speed management has started flexing its muscles at TRB, another topic that promises a lot of capability and potential is AI and tech.
The thing that I've taken away is the need of these new systems to have really clean data. I would find few objections to the idea that transportation data is some of the most detailed and deep and complex and totally inconsistent and problematic data that has ever existed. And that's something that we've built into our workflows and thinking through how that data has to be managed, how we work with our clients to figure out what to trust and not trust. We have these new tools that have a cost, but the cost that also is going to be borne on agencies and consultants and those who have to prepare the data for these tools if those tools need specifications and for really clean data sets that don't really always exist right now. A lot of the stuff that we're working with, crash data or infrastructure data, is really like a step behind where it probably needs to be for it to be cleanly integrated into these processes. There's a real need in 2026 for people within the transportation profession to really be thinking around what the questions are that they're trying to answer or the issues that they need help with. The products and information and tools being sold often are looking for problems rather than identifying the problem they're trying to solve. And I don't necessarily mean that as a criticism. It's really just more a thing that in the next year, in the short term, has a real implication for us and how we think in the field. Tools and offerings are not going away. And so it really behooves us as professionals to really think through, what are we trying to achieve? Why can't we achieve it with our traditional tools? And what would we want to have help us?
After hearing from our insiders, we asked what their biggest prediction was for transportation in 2026. Here's what they had to say.
Our Super Bowl ads will include many advertisements for AI, including probably at least one that will show a road and cars and dots moving along a screen.
My biggest prediction for micromobility is that it's going to continue to be a bigger topic of discussion in transportation research, planning, and the design of roadways.
My prediction, and it's really kind of a hope, is that we're going to continue to see a decline in pedestrian fatalities in 2026 across the country.
We're going to go further into looking more into human behaviors and not just like the best way to do something, but like why we need to travel a certain way.
We will start seeing more and more studies that are going to look at human factors, that are going to look at the behavioral influences of traffic safety.
A shift in priority towards focusing on congestion performance and travel time, reliability, and resiliency in rural and suburban areas is going to be a big focus in 2026.
Share this video with your transportation friends and subscribe for more deep dives into transportation.